Hey, how you doing? We're Bad Plan. I'm Chad.
I'm Dan.
And we're here to talk about how we got banned on Reddit, or actually a post-mortem of a disastrous Reddit campaign. What we did on the launch of our Steam page that went not great, actually. And when we mention this to people, people are like, oh my God, what happened? How did you get banned on Reddit? So we thought we'd do a devlog to explain the mistakes that we made and what we've learned about it in true post-mortem style. So what we're going to be talking about is, what did we try? What were we trying to do? What was the attempt? What happened? And the outcome of that was good, bad, and ugly, quite ugly in some cases. And then how did we respond? What did we do about that? And then what did we learn overall? So what did we try? We launched our Steam page last week and we've had some wish lists, which is great. Yeah, cool. But what we wanted to do, or I should take responsibility, what I wanted to do was try and launch with a bit of a splash, right? So I'm going to go on Reddit, and I know that you can't just do straight advertising on Reddit. So what I tried to do, also wrong on multiple channels, was come up with ways of framing, hey, check out our game, without being blunt about advertising it.
You were part of Reddit groups. You didn't just come in as a guy that was never been on the thing, and they hate that.
It wasn't the first time I posted on. So mostly we're talking about the gaming subreddit, which is 44 million people, and I've been on for about 5 months, posting and contributing and trying to be a member of the community. But yeah,
it's doubtful that 44 million people are going to see that you're part of the community. But anyhow,
that's true.
And also that's a pretty hard community.
Yeah, as this is one of the things we learned. So what I did was I put a post on this saying, it feels like our game is getting blocked and it's making me depressed. Is it really that bad? And I would say things like, oh, we've been through 5 rounds of Steam review. There was an Australian convention that kind of didn't want our game, and we've had bad feedback from some of the people in the space and things like that.
It was a bit tongue-in-cheek though.
It was a bit cheeky, yeah, and on reflection, not a good approach, right? And then I went, oh, here's our Steam page. Is it really that bad? And I thought, oh, well, we'll try and get some traffic. So what happened as a result of this? Well, a lot happened quite quickly. And I don't know, was it viral? It's definitely the most viral thing I've ever done, but maybe viral in not a great direction. So as you can see here, we got a fair bit of traction. This was about an hour into posting it, about 19,000 views, 44 comments. By the end, we'd had about 65 comments. So we probably got a lot of views on the Reddit post itself and a fair bit of traffic to the Steam page, which was the original intention.
I think at the end it was 50 to 60, 70, 80,000 views.
Yeah, in a few hours, in 2 or 3 hours, which is not bad. I mean, I was trying to do something that would get attention, and it did. Not in necessarily a great way. Because one person said, and I picked up on my subtle hint, you realize this jackass just got a whole bunch of you to give him free YouTube clips and engagement on his Steam campaign, right? Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing. It was a bit cynical. Sorry about that. And someone said, so it's another day on the internet. So what else happened? Well, there was some good stuff that happened. So good, the bad, and the ugly, right? There was some good stuff that happened, and some people were fairly positive. Someone goes, looks fun, good luck. And that's nice, thanks, cool. Another person said, I thought it looked cool, so I added it to my wish list. Thanks, that's 1 out of 7,000 we need. But then again, I am interested in playing these types of games. I can understand why people could be offended by the nature of the content, but at the same time, I feel like those people aren't your main audience. Either way, good luck and hope to play your game. Thanks, we hope you play our game too. And that's interesting though, hope to play your game. And that's a bit ambiguous, because I'm like, what does he mean by that?
Well, it means it's not out yet.
Yeah,
I hope we finish it.
Hope you finish it, because we know that a lot of indie games don't get finished. Someone else was a bit more detailed. I don't know what it's like being a game dev, but I do know what it's like running a software company and fundraising. You'll get way more no than yes. Build some thick skin and move on. As mentioned before, this game has elements and gameplay mechanics and styles of other popular games, so I wouldn't focus my attention on people who don't enjoy games like these. Yeah, that's cool. We can focus on our market. Possibly PC ain't the right platform for this. Maybe mobile would yield better returns. And so this is kind of a useful engagement with a game and platform.
I don't think that's true.
Nah.
Not for a twin stick shooter.
Nah. PC, we're stuck with Steam. So yeah. But, I could totally see this being a popular game on Twitch for Halloween streams. Possibly live stream the game to build hype. Yeah, cool. That's good. That's a good idea. We definitely plan on doing that. Streamers, if you're out there, yeah, please feel free to contact us. TLDR, I think you've got a solid game worth playing and making money. You need to keep going at it and try to make money. All the best. Yeah, that's cool. We will try to get people to play our game. And then someone else just said, this is pure nightmare fuel.
Which is interpreted as maybe good or bad?
Yeah, I don't know. Usually people say that as a good thing if you're a horror fan, but maybe not. Then someone else gave quite a detailed kind of like analysis and summary of what they thought about our aesthetics, gameplay, hooking the audience. Which is like nice. People are engaging with the content and all that sort of thing. And then it started to go a little bit bad. One person says, took a look at your Steam page. The game looks gory, but no more so than a lot of games, okay? The game is labelled as containing sexual content too, though that wasn't really apparent from the trailer. Just lots of violence. I know Australia is pretty uptight about game violence, so maybe that's why they're excluding you. So
because the original post was you asking why we're getting banned, but then everyone just started like critiquing the game.
Yeah, that's
like it wasn't about. But yeah, I mean, you're still to blame.
Oh, totally. I'll take it on the chin. But then someone said, and this is where you started to get like a bit of spiraling or like, not a pile on, but like the discussion went in a particular direction. And someone said, the entire thing comes down to the player character being a little girl, I reckon. If you'd chosen an adult woman, you probably would have been fine. I can't believe I have to say this, but no company wants to host a game where a bloody cock flies towards a kid. Okay, cool, fair. As someone else in the comments pointed out, nudity and children do not mix. Could be the fact that there are children and dicks in the game. Yep, okay, so we're getting the vibe.
For those who haven't seen the game, there is no naked children in this game.
No.
Not at all.
There's not.
But there was a giant penis.
Yeah.
That like smashed out of a wall. It wasn't attached to a person, it was just like, it's like one of the Super Mario Brothers smashing things, you know, like down. It was just a giant dick.
Yeah, we're not going to show it because we've decided to remove it.
Which was also like, had all broken glass in it. Because I had to make it more, you know, it hurts you if it hits you.
Yeah. And like less, I don't know. Anyway, it was
I thought it was funny.
Anyhow, it did, the joke didn't land with a lot of people. But, you know, someone's like, hey, it could be the massive dick. Penises are more sensitive in issue in terms of nudity. They make people uncomfortable. And then they talked about a game called Genital Jousting.
Which is a thing. Devolver Digital.
Yeah, right. So...
what did they say about Genital Jousting?
You play as a sentient dick in a world of sentient dicks. They have jobs and such, and they have arseholes you can penetrate. Quite literally.
Yeah, and they eat through their arseholes as well.
So a lot of people are saying, oh, there's lots of stuff that's way worse out there, but what you've got is pretty bad. This is an interesting thread. So someone did say, the other issue I see is maybe the satanic symbolism, especially most notably the goat head. Satanic stuff can, again, be touchy with people. If you're based in the US, which we're not, but it could also be due to the current political religious climate. However, other games get away with it fine. Doom has satanic symbolism, but this could be because it's an established franchise that got rebooted or because it's made by a AAA company. Hard to say.
Also, it's hell. It's set in hell.
Like, so there is...
It's pretty hard to get away from,
devils, demons.
Satanic symbolism when your game's set in hell. And also, hell isn't real.
Yeah.
Like, why do people get upset about satanic symbolism when it's not real?
Yeah, I think maybe some people think that it is, or that representing it is
a little
sketchy.
red man, like with a pitchfork going, don't masturbate more.
Well, there is a thing. One of the Steam categories on your content warning asks you to declare if you represent Nazi symbolism or have Holocaust denial in your games. So, that's obviously highly relevant to, Germany and maybe the US. And so it's possible that for some people, some symbolism like that is just not on. But that's not something we got particularly picked up on. But some people may feel that way about that. Another person is saying the game convention feeling uncomfortable with promoting your game, but satanic elements, gore, and phallic imagery hardly seems like a reason to bar the game from Steam. If the game was promoting hate, that would be different, and it doesn't. But maybe Valve just makes it difficult to sell AO games. I don't really know what I'm talking about. That's all cool. And then it starts getting a bit worse. People are saying this honestly comes off as extremely tone deaf. They quote some of our marketing copy, and I'm not surprised you're getting censored, especially for releasing in Australia, because apparently Australia's really bad for content, is what they're saying.
Australia's bad for drugs. You put any named drugs in there and you're out.
Named drugs, and particularly drugs that enhance your capability to do things. There was historically a whole issue where until 2013, there was no R rating for games in Australia. And games have long memories. So people remember when you literally couldn't have adult games in Australia.
There was the South Park thing with Australia as well.
Yeah, and that was around the same time.
That was the South Park video game.
Yeah, so what they did was that they then introduced an R rating for games, saying, oh, they're the same as films in terms of content. Why don't we have an R rating? They can be for adults. And that was allowed, but it means there's a bit of history there as well. Someone else says, yeah, maybe the game with depictions of you not just killing children, but turning them into gore piles mixed with the sort of Saturday morning Tupi and Beano children's cartoon art style isn't going to be looked upon glowingly. So this is the thing, this is kind of what our game's about, is the cute combined with the gore. That's kind of like
Happy Tree Friends.
Happy Tree Friends and Friends, and like, you know, Rick and Morty and all that sort of stuff. So that's a kind of aesthetic for the game, but this person's like, doesn't like it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's cool. Don't have to play it. And then someone just goes, bruh, you literally have a bloody dick in your trailer. Of course they're going to censor a game like that. Fair. Okay. Pointed and fair. And then the comments got like kind of a bit worse and got kind of gnarly, right?
Yeah, then it spirals into like ugly.
The ugly, right?
Hate. The people that, you'll see, the people that just don't, they just want to, they've just jumped on and they hate everything, and they've been on Reddit for 45 hours straight already, and they just want to hate on something.
And so one person goes, Rick and Morty, and we're like, oh yeah, maybe a bit. And then someone goes, yeah, the description and the account give that edgelord cringe Rick and Morty fanboy vibe. Oof, oof. That's hard. And then someone says, there's a scene in your trailer with a naked kid with an oversized dick getting stretched apart while awake and horrified. Not quite what happens.
None of that happens in the trailer. There are no naked children. I don't even understand that.
The dick stretched apart?
Getting stretched apart?
While
awake and horrified? I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
That is not in the trailer at all.
Sometimes people see what they want to see. They say that is appealing to a very small minority and extremely unappealing to the great
That's not appealing to any minority, what he's playing that wasn't in the game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I personally, this is the thing that got me out, so I put it in here, because we've got to take this on the chin. I personally wish I hadn't seen it and in agreement with the rejections and blocks you listed. I hope this helps you understand. And I'm kind of like, oh, oof. Someone's seen something they wish they hadn't seen, and that lingers with me a bit, because it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of scarring someone, or yeah, I don't know. Anyway, next person says, has a go at our studio name. Bad Plan Studios, such an appropriate name based from your current situation. Oof. We like our name.
Jokes aside,
it's R18 plus. It's like, yeah, there's all these content warnings on the Steam page. And so, yeah, it is, but there you go. Then someone goes, probably NSFW. Bro, what do you think NSFW is if this ain't it? Actually, don't show me. I don't want to be on a watch list. So here's the mention of a watch list, which is like hard, right?
And then it just spirals in from then on, with all these people just like just saying all this horrible stuff that like, you're horrible, you're this, you're that, like
child porn.
It's just child pornography, and I'm like, there is none of that in there. But like, sure.
Yeah, you've also got to accept that this is a response like from the mainstream, and we've got to like listen to it. But this last one is like
the best one.
The worst, the ugliest. So he goes,
this is
first
what
of
I
all,
show people.
OP, it is that bad. And it's like, yep, okay, cool.
What's OP?
The whole original poster.
Oh.
This whole account is cross-posting to every popular subreddit under the sun with probably the edgiest taglines I've ever seen. My bad. Sorry, yeah, I won't do that again. This is clearly just a promo and a bad one at that. Okay, yep, cool.
Pretty good one. Yeah, he's been
Hey, he got attention. Fair warning, there is no chance this gets picked up by any digital publisher, full stop. To be honest, anyone interested in it is probably already on a watch list, and anybody looking at it is going to end up on one.
That means that they're saying that anyone who's wishlisted it is on a watch list now.
Yeah, or watched our trailer, especially you and your studio. Now that's harsh, because we are a real studio. Fuck you, mate. Anyway, I'd be looking up federal law in your home country for the penalties for producing digital child porn. on the most extreme end, because that's essentially what this is. Get this. He goes,
next comment. Yeah.
I didn't watch the trailer. So he hasn't actually seen the trailer.
He's making all these assumptions.
Yeah. And all of these people have not played the game either. This is just based on the Steam page. That's worth noting. After refreshing the page and reading each comment, so he's learning about the game from this comment thread on Reddit.
An echo chamber.
But I've read the descriptions and gleaned a pretty good impression of the content of this game. I know what this game's about because I've read this thread on Reddit.
And then the next...
Maybe if you cut the child nudity...
there is no naked children in my butt game.
Yeah, people imagining things and this person listening to them. Anyway, you could find an audience for it on Steam or GOG. If you're after realistic publishing advice for a child nudity-less version of your game, the occasional subtle post on 4chan is literally your best bet when not doing 4chan. A bare bones website with a PayPal portal and an executable download might have a bit of success. It's like, wow.
But then the last line.
You're still probably going to prison. Whoa, right? And I hadn't read this one, and Dan rings me up and goes, have you read that last comment? It's pretty brutal, eh? And I'm like, oh yeah, it is a little bit. So
this is just some cream that we scraped off the top. But there was a lot more. There's some darker stuff in there as well, and
and more specific
60
stuff.
comments.
Yeah, but this was a general thread. There was some good stuff, there was some bad stuff, and then there was some really ugly stuff. So how did we respond? What did we respond to this? We were like, oh, we have to do something about this. So the first thing we did was we deleted this Reddit post because we went, okay, that was a bad idea. Like playing the victim a little bit and going, oh, is it really that bad? Is like taking the piss, right? And that's partly what we're being punished for.
Even I rang you up and said, dude, even I would have been pissed off at that post.
Right, yeah, so fair enough, Yeah. But, like one of the things we do in our share is we do stuff and then we learn from it, and so that's what we do.
Oh, I reckon I'm really happy with with the changes, and yeah.
So the first thing we did was delete that post, and we're like, oh, hopefully lots of people forget. To those of you who are out there who saw this post and all that sort of thing, had that bad response, I'm sorry, we're sorry. Apology is out there. We definitely learned our lesson. The other thing that happened is a couple of people went straight onto the YouTube channel and found it, and this looks like it was dreamt up by an edgy 15-year-old. Are you really surprised it's being suppressed on Steam? And then, yeah, you'd be lucky not to get an AO rating. That's fine, we don't mind our rating. No wonder nobody wants to support this. So this kind of bled out from Reddit, which is not great. And that lives on our YouTube. And unless we delete that whole video and all the views and all of the other comments.
Delete the comments.
Oh, can you? Yeah, I don't think we should, because I don't know. I think it's like, I don't know, that seems kind of like sketchy. So what we did was like, we were like, oh, we hope some people put some good comments on YouTube after this. And then after these people, there were some good comments from our supporters on there. And that's nice, so a bit of rehabilitation.
But then we got an email from Reddit saying your account has been banned because someone, a concerned Redditor has reported to us that you're suicidal.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? And so our whole End of Ember thread has been like got
so I think that might have been separate. We got this message saying, oh, someone's reached out being concerned about you. It's really hard if you don't have support. Make sure you reach out for help if you need it. And it's like interesting because that can be like,
well, I showed my other game dev mates and they're like, oh yeah, that's a thing that gets done. So there's the Reddit care thing which you can report someone and they take down the post in case you're getting bullied and all this stuff and put it all down. And people are weaponizing that. So people who don't like certain minority groups, or if they're religious and they think that you don't like their religion, they report you as being depressed, so your stuff gets taken down off of Reddit, and it's disgusting. It's like horrible.
Yeah.
So someone obviously, I assume it's the person who posted that last one.
Could be, or someone who didn't post at all. We don't really know.
Yeah. So,
but then we got the account was banned. End of Ember banned on Reddit. I mean, that's our subreddit, so we had a community, no followers, and like one post, so no big deal. But that was just removed entirely. And then our whole account was banned. And then we're still having trouble in some communities. Our account's been reinstated, but Reddit's kind of a little bit broken for us at the moment. So that whole thing happened and we just had to ride that out. And then we decided to change the trailer. That was a big thing because this original trailer was still on Steam.
Well, no, what we decided to do is I looked at the whole thing and I was like, so the only thing people cared about, like all they wanted to talk about was like this big dick coming out of the thing. And that is just like a small part. That's not even a part of the game. That was just the thing I put in there because I thought it'd be funny. But that's all they concentrated on. And I was like, I wanted to make it, a horror game, a horror comedy game with like violence and this gore system and that. And I added that other stuff in there, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to take that stuff out. It doesn't change the gameplay. It doesn't change the story. It was just in there as like a side joke kind of thing. So, and I'm like, and then we realized that, putting it up on Steam that we had to put in the nudity tags. What was it?
Yeah, frequent nudity.
Frequent nudity tags, which like stops like a lot of linking to it, and like people have to like log in. You can't just see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's not about the nudity in the game. Like, sure, I had some characters, some enemies that were naked, because that's as I always went, well, if you're in hell, you're not going to wear clothes, because they wouldn't let you wear clothes.
Yeah.
So I just went like, you know what? Fuck it, I can put way worse stuff and take out the nudity and put in way more horrible stuff. It like gory, not gory, but like
body horror type
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, like, I can fill that void with something I think is funnier, that's more horror-y or makes someone laugh.
So one of the things that happened was we have, Pole Man for president. So there was an issue from Steam around Pole Man.
Pole Man is a man who's like tied to a pole, and he's like, he was like disemboweled, and his guts would fire out at like intestines.
You'd have an intestine sticking out like this,
but
and obviously
like,
on a screenshot,
it's looking around this intestine, like it's homing in, and then it like fires blood out at people.
But on a screenshot, it just looks like maybe not an intestine.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a big dick, but it's coming out of a hole. But like,
and so Steam picked that up repeatedly, and Dan changed that. So here we have the new Pole Man, where his mouth, his guts is a mouth.
Yes, he has a guts, and I did that when I changed like the capture art, because I like this idea better. He's like a big mouth. He blurts out tapeworms at people
that attach to you and stop Ember
slow you down
moving
and stuff like that. So I like that whole process. I wouldn't have done that without that happening, and it's just made me think of more creative like things like to do like. And like some of the nudity, like I had these clowns that were like, because everyone was, my enemies were based on the damned were the first ones. So they were just naked people that I did different ways of stuff happening. But I'm like, they didn't have to be naked. So the clown bombers that they had problems as well, like the suicide bombing clowns, I just put pants on them. I put clown pants on them. And they look funny and they look more like clowns. I'm like, sure. And the only reason I didn't do that the first time is because I just started with a naked person. I didn't think of that.
And then there's Big Guy, so you reworked Big Guy recently.
Yeah, like a bum, big guy, and I'm like, and Big Guy, this whole idea came out like, I was like, what can I cover people up with? And I might have this idea because like, the world, hell is made of this, hell is this sentient pink mass of flesh that like moves rooms around and stuff like that. Like, and that is like this thing that's why you can't get out of hell, because it's like, you're inside this big pink flesh, bleh. And I'm like, well, why can't it be like, I always like biomechanical stuff, like HR Giga and stuff like that, or like the biomechanical like landscapes and stuff like that. And I thought, well, I can make this is kind of like a biomechanical or a landscape. And so I thought, instead of like computers biomechanical, I would do like bones. So it'll be like flesh and bone, but the bones are like made up. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, and put that in there. Now that's going to become a major part of the game, and that wouldn't have been in there if we hadn't gone through this whole fiasco. I just would have skipped that, and now it's going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, so it's like a creative redirection, right? We've kind of gone, it's actually, let's get rid of all of the nudity, all of the dicks, that sort of stuff, because that's not a core of the game. Let's like make it more horror, more comedy horror in lots of different ways.
More creative.
Yeah, it's more creative. And so what we're going to be doing is like adjusting the Steam page, new trailer, new screenshots, all that sort of thing, new content survey. So hopefully it just gets flagged for violence and gore, which is the main thing that the main content thing.
Yeah, so like games like Doom and games like all this the horror,
just comedy horror. Yeah. Without the sexual nudity stuff. So that's the redirection that we've taken. And some of our friends will be pleased to hear that that's our news, that we've decided to take that part of the game out. The last thing that happened, as you can see here, is we had like an ad campaign. And because we changed the YouTube video, Dan changed it on the fly to get rid of the big dick. You can see here, not eligible, the video content changed. So it broke our Google AdWords campaign. So we had to redo that. So there were lots of knock-on effects, but we think we've managed to contain and respond it fairly well. So ultimately, what did we learn? What did we learn from this whole experience? Well, Reddit can be harsh.
Yeah, well,
And you've got to be careful, you know, like that's the thing. Reddit is a tricky space to start with, but also
the main thing we learn is like be transparent, like be authentic about what you're doing. Like it's important. Like even though you were writing that as like a bit tongue in cheek and like look at why do we keep getting banned, guys? It doesn't come. No one hears that tone. You know what I mean? Like all they saw was like fishing for like things, which anyone who's like advertising a game is doing. So like guilty of trying to be successful. Yes.
I think one thing though is that it was like there was a deceptive thing to it.
Yeah,
like it was a misdirection, and people picked up on that and like punished it. So it's like, okay, I've learned a lot about marketing from that. You know. So authenticity is super important. Still though, like we said, like no regrets, some regrets maybe, but mostly no regrets because like getting out there is like super important.
I was really, I was like quite upset about it when it was happening.
Yeah, you were the most stressed I've ever seen you in our friendship.
Yeah, well that's because I was in hospital with my son at that exact time it was happening, and he was in a bed with a 40-degree temperature with doctors around him, putting flannels on him, cooling him down, like, and I'm like wringing out the flannels, you know, redoing that whilst looking at this shit happening.
Yeah.
And it was like...
bad timing.
Yeah, it was real bad timing. So I was like, it was just that, you know what I mean? I was already under pressure. My son's in hospital on a bed, but he's fucked at the moment, and there's doctors trying to help him, and then this was happening. If it was just bad timing. And like, for me, I was just like, fuck it, and then my wife was there, and she read it, and she just said, well, you know what? I've always kind of had a problem with that big dick as well. I didn't think it was like that cool, but I thought I gave you the benefit of the doubt that you knew what you're doing. And I was like, as soon as she said that, I was like, it's out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've got a son, I've got a daughter, you know what I mean? I'm you know, it's not, I don't see these characters as real people.
Yeah.
They're like little cartoon ridiculousness. Like, you know, you don't see, like, you know, you don't see, I was saying like Happy Tree Friends and all those like stupid little like violent shows. They're not, it's never like you watch Happy Tree Friends and go, oh, I should go out and, you know, kill my friend. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's that whole thing. It has nothing to do with it. Like, saying video game violence has nothing to do with like real life violence. It's proven over and over and over again. Again, no matter what all you Liebermans out there say, like, it is not true. Like,
so I mean, like, but it kind of reinforced for us, and this is what game devs say all the time, is to like get out there early, like, you know, promote your stuff early, get it out there as early as possible, and get that feedback and get that traction, so that you get a vibe. And we got a strong vibe on like what a more mainstream response to our content was, and we're like, oh, okay, we can adjust based on that, and it's actually strengthened the creative vision.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Imagine we hadn't done that and we just released a game and just got all that flash and the game's already out and it's done, and
too late.
And you're like looking at it going, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put that shit in there.
I wish I'd done a dodgy Reddit post and had people yell at us earlier.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, because I was always like, you're on two sides of like, should I take it? I've taken it out before, remember?
Yeah. And
then I was like, oh no, I'll put it back in, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. And then like, no, like
it was not fine.
It's just like, we have a lot of our like Discord community saying like, can you do like a DLC where we can put it all back in?
Yeah, can we mod this with all the dicks? And it's like, well, maybe, hang on. So in the end, ultimately what we learned is like...
Let's hide it so deep in the game that you have to play it for like 25 hours before that clicks, like 250 thousand hours before it all just clicks back in, and then it actually does open a portal to hell
in real life. Yeah. So ultimately, it's like stay true to your vision stuff. It's like we realize what Dan really wants to do with this game, and then realize what's disposable. You know, can you kill your darlings? Is there stuff that you thought was necessary or thought you wanted in the game, but isn't actually core to what the experience is? And we can get rid of that pretty easily and make ultimately a better game for everyone who wants to play and buy it.
So no matter how mean and angry those Redditors were, they actually helped us.
Super helpful. So thank you. Yeah. Sorry, and thank you, Reddit.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. Catch ya. Bye.